So here we have the Nike Clogposite Light, Orewood brown and white, and this is a pair of trainers that is mainly for lifestyle and recovery, and that's why it's created. It looks similar to obviously a Foamposite. That's where the inspiration comes from and the name. So it's kind of to complement those, I guess, and the fact that it was made as a recovery shoe for basketball players, I guess, and from what I understand, and that's the reason why this particular silhouette exists. And it was one of those ones that was introduced in the early 2000s, so it was meant for, like I said, playing for, when you're playing basketball, recovery shoe for after basketball or even before. You're not wearing your basketball shoes outside of the court, just inside of the court, and these are meant to sort of be worn instead. So with the details, it comes in a light old brown and white colourway, and you can kind of see that on here. The brown is kind of more of a beige, and and that's what they mean by light Orewood. And what I can sort of say is it feels quite nice as well in terms of the way it sort of looks and the textures of the material. And this has a deep heel cup, so you can sort of see in here, because it's made as like a clog or a mule, your foot sits quite deep inside, and it's not completely locked, but it does give you that sort of locked in feeling as well, depending on your foot and how your foot shape is. For me, I've got pretty firm sort of lock in on the heel, so which was quite nice. And this has got sort of breathable textiles, so you can sort of see on here they've got this sort of grill system. It's almost sort of, I think, metallic in nature, or maybe even actually TPU, and it's got sort of rough to the touch, but gives you that bit of breathability that you need so it doesn't get too hot inside the clog itself. And this, in my eyes, I don't think this is made of Clogposite material. Maybe some parts of it is, but as you can sort of see when I sort of push down on it, it squishes quite a bit, not like a Foamposite. To me, it kind of feels like, I suppose, more of a TPU layer, but sort of softened up more so. And I don't think it is leather. Maybe this top part's not leather, but it's got that kind of in between sort of feel where it feels like I suppose a synthetic leather / TPU, and it's quite sort of smooth to the touch as well. So it feels quite nice. It looks similar to a Foamposite material, but not completely the same. And the price for these is $129.99. So the comfort and sizing, these are on the medium to firm side. It's not like they're uncomfortable, but you can sort of see in here it's got like an insole that's been put in there, and it's kind of almost like a normal trainer. There's no sort of, as far as I know, any sort of tech in this particular footwear. It's just mainly the midsole outsole combination, and it's quite sort of neutral on foot as well for that reason. And obviously it's meant as a recovery shoe, but and that's the reason why it's sort of medium to firm, because you kind of need that when you're off the court. And true to size should work for most people. For me, I was fine true to size, just getting my foot in there, but with socks on I just feel it's a bit tight. Therefore, potentially I would go up half size on these, for me anyway, because I have a wide foot. It just felt quite a bit of lockdown and a bit too sort of claustrophobic and a bit too clamped down. So for me, I'd look to go up half size with these instead, and I think then it'll give me slightly more of a looser fit, but I'd prefer that to having too much tightness. Not to say that they wouldn't kind of wear in, I'm sure they would, and become a bit more easier to wear, but I just don't prefer my footwear to be like that, especially with things like clogs and stuff like that. I'd like them to have a bit of room, so it just means there's a bit more breathability. And I'd say give it sort of 6 to 12 hours for it to wear in. Even though it's got this sort of soft material on here, it's still quite rigid, and like I said, when you try to bend it, it doesn't bend very much, but when you're walking it doesn't feel as bad. And this outsole does kind of give you that, I suppose, that sort of same kind of feel as a Foamposite, but I imagine, over time it will sort of bend and become a bit more, accustomed to your foot. And it's the same material that you'd have in a Foamposite. And in my eyes, I think this has kind of got average traction. It doesn't feel that great to me. I might be wrong on that, but just judging from it, it's got a very sort of clear look to it. And in my eyes, it's one of those ones where I think it does the job, but I wouldn't be banking on it. For example, not that it would be used for sort of hiking, but for things like that, I don't know if it would be worthwhile. But for casually sort of walking around town, I don't think it's a problem. So with the look and style, I do like the neutral colourway. That's the reason I bought these rather than the chrome version. And there's also I think it was a yellow version that came out, or kind of bright Volt colour. And this one I think is nice and sort of neutral on foot and easy to sort of match up And in my eyes, obviously the price does dictate that, but it's got more of a sort of premium feel to it. And Birkenstocks are kind of similar price to these. And if I was to wear one of the two, it'd be more like something like this, because I kind of just like that futuristic look, and the premium sort of materials on here as well. It does feel sort of a lot more elevated, and like I said, the materials overall just makes it kind of one of those pieces of footwear that is, I suppose, nice to wear, but is on the expensive side. And like I said, it's got that sort of retro futuristic look to it, so it's kind of modern, but at the same time, it's something that could have existed in sort of 20 years from now, kind of thing. But obviously, it was designed in early 2000s, but it just does have that kind of look to it. And it's a good one for sort of spring, summertime in my eyes. I think, wearing these autumn, winter, don't get me wrong, it'll kind of keep you pretty much protected, but I'd be a bit wary of wearing them sort of autumn, winter time, especially with this particular colourway. But I think they're quite nice to sort of wear, more on the sort of casual, smart casual as well, because they've got quite a sort of plain look to them. Obviously, you have to be careful how you dress these up, but no reason why you couldn't wear them with a pair of chinos, for example. And obviously, they'll work well with joggers and shorts and stuff like that as well. And like I said, they've got a really sort of unique look to them. So with the final thoughts, I like the futuristic look to them, and that's what's kind of drawn me to them in the first place. And I just like stuff that's different and unique, and this is similar to that. And I like the premium feel on these as well, which I mentioned. The materials on this is quite nice actually, and feels, like I said, robust, and I feel like they'll last you a long time. And the only thing that I would say is that it's a good that it's the fact that it's got like a snug fit, so that it works in its advantage, because obviously you don't want this sort of slipping in terms of the heel space, because it's supposed to act as a clog, as a mule. So for that reason, it's good to have a sort of snug fit. But at the same time, you do need to sort of wear these in a bit to get the most out of them. And that's kind of similar to, I suppose, a Birkenstock as well. And also the cost. So the cost is on the high side, $129.99. So I don't know if that warrants the overall price. I think at $99.99 it probably would have been better priced. But obviously, with the foam material in general, they do charge a lot more money for that anyway. And I think these are sort of more on the premium side anyway. But I'd prefer them to be cheaper, in all honesty. So with the ratings, give the look and style 5 out of 5. I just really like the way they look. I think it's really cool, really minimalistic, but like I said, futuristic at the same time. And the comfort, I'm going to give it a 4. It's not like peak comfort, but I like the way it feels on foot. Like I said, it's meant to be as a lifestyle recovery shoe, but at the same time, it's got that sort of neutral firmness on foot, and I like that. And the quality, I would give it a 5. Like I said, the materials on here is really nice. There's not really much wrong with the way it's been constructed, and like I said, it feels robust and quite sort of strong. And the pricing, I'm going to give that 3. I just feel like it's priced a bit too high, or probably quite high actually, saying that. And if it retailed at the £100 mark, I think it'd be better. But overall, I'm going to give it a score of 4 out of 5. I was kind of nearing 5, but I think this is the cost of the footwear that lets it down. I know like Birkenstocks are charging a lot of money for their particular footwear, but that's a different, I suppose, audience and a different sort of clientele. And I know Birkenstocks last for a long time, and you can also just change the outsole on those as well. But with this one, you can't do that. And also, I think, being Nike, I think the price should be a bit lower than what it is. And maybe that's why they're sitting, but they're still a unique silhouette and very cool at the same time. And I personally really like them.